Hello, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Stone, and this is your writing lesson for today. On Monday, we talked about sentence variety, and you're going to use that on the assignment that you're going to do today. However, something else I want to go to is that you've already written the hook for your Humphrey story. Now we're heading into the story critical character setting or object. And if you look at your rubric, I am requiring you to do the setting. I'm not really giving you a choice over that because this is about the Humphrey's adventure, and so hopefully Humphrey is going to go someplace on his adventure, and so that's what I want you to describe as where he is going. So let's go through pages, I think 19 and 24 in your writing section of your binder. If you don't have that, you need to grab that, and you also need to grab a red, blue, and green colored pencil. So when you have all of that, come back to the lesson. All right, now that you are back, let's look at I've condensed the directions for page 19 because I really didn't want to type it all out, so I just condensed it. What you're basically going to do is we're going to read through each of these sentences, and we're going to identify the character, the setting, and the object in each one of these. Now, in some of them, I think there's a debate, it's a little fuzzy on if it should be a setting or an object or whatever. And there, two sentences. I is the character, and you just kind of think, is that really a story critical character where you have to describe something like that? So I think some of these are a little hard to figure out. That's why we're going to go through them. And if you'll notice, I did not do number 6, and number 6 was about Halloween, and some people celebrate Halloween, some people don't, and so I just decided not to include number 6, and so we're just going to skip that one. So that's great for you because it's one less that you have to do. So let's look at number 1. And it says, this is a story about hiking through the forest on a fall afternoon. Along the way, I discover a gruesome troll. The troll offers me a mysterious box to keep my very own. Okay, number 1 is extremely easy to figure out. Okay, when we talk about a story critical character, I want you to take your red and I want you to find the story critical character, which would be, oh, I did setting first. All right, we're going to do setting first. So, the critical setting in blue is going to be forest on a fall afternoon. Now remember, setting can be time or place or both. So forest on a fall afternoon. Next, let's see what I went to. I think I went to character on next. Okay. And so that is going to be your gruesome troll. And then in green, you should find your object, which should be your mysterious box. So this kind of gives you an idea of what I want you to do on 2 through 5. Now, I'm going to know if you did this with me because I'm going to see the colored pencils on your page. Now, like I said, some things are a little fuzzy, so I do kind of want to go through these with you. I'm not going to let you do this on your own because I think some of them are a little tricky. Number 2 is one of those tricky ones. So let's look and find the story critical character first. So take your red, and the story critical character would be the Scarecrow. So if I decide to do the elaborative detail over the story critical character, I would describe the Scarecrow. Okay, remember, in your adventure, I am requiring you to do the setting. So next, let's find the setting in blue. In this one, I think it's a little debatable. Middle of autumn is definitely the setting. Now, field of ripe pumpkins. You can either have the field just by itself and then make ripe pumpkins your story critical object, but I'm going to tell you why I didn't do that. Let's look for the object first, and we're going to find the farmer's tractor. I think in this story, the writer was saying that the story critical object was going to be the farmer's tractor because that's how the Scarecrow got to the field, and the field just happened to be ripe pumpkins. So I think in this case, the farmer's tractor is going to be the story critical object. But remember, you're going to do setting in your story. Okay, number 3. I think this is another one of those kind of iffy ones. Can be one way or another. And so on this one, the story critical character, really the only thing that I could find was I. And I'm not really sure if I would devote my time, if I'm writing a story about a community pumpkin patch and everything, if I would want to devote the time describing myself. And so in this case, I think that they didn't put really one in there because they wanted you to either focus on the setting or they wanted you to focus on the object. Now in this one also, I say that the setting is an autumn night, a hayride, and a community pumpkin patch. I think if you wanted to um, debate on if the object would be the hayride, you could, but I just really think that this one, the community pumpkin patch would be a place. A hayride would really kind of be a place. And an autumn night would definitely be a time. So I think that those would work. And the reason why I didn't do a hayride in blue is because I wanted to save my green for the harvest moon, which is obviously an object. Now, I'm not sure, you could describe the harvest moon as being spooky and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know how much you would actually be able to, information you could put on the harvest moon. So that one was a little difficult for me to distinguish if they were wanting the object to be the hayride or the harvest moon. But I couldn't figure out why they put the harvest moon so bright in the sky if they didn't want you to kind of focus on the harvest moon. So number 4. One autumn day, I strolled along a country road collecting colorful fallen leaves. Okay, here again, the only character in that sentence is I. I'm not really sure if I had that sentence, I would spend my time talking about myself, describing myself. Okay? And so that's really, to me, it's the character but not the story critical one. I guess if I wanted to describe myself as being bundled up in has-and scarves and all kinds of stuff, I could do that. But I think they would have made it a little clearer if they had in number 1, the story critical character is obvious. And in number 2, it's obvious. In number 3 and 4, I think it can, it's I. That's the only character there. Okay, so then we're going to go on to the setting. And on this one, it's going to be an autumn day, which is a time, okay, and the country road. That's a place. And then the story critical object is going to be the colorful fallen leaves. So now number 5 should be fairly easy for you to identify. So I roasted some tasty pumpkin seeds with my granddad over his outdoor fire pit. So the very first thing I'm going to do is find my story critical character. Well, the word I is in there, but we want to talk about granddad because it's his fire pit. He's roasting the seeds. It's his house. And just a story critical character should usually be somebody besides yourself. Okay. And so the next one you want to do is find the setting. Where is it set? Well, it's set at the outdoor fire pit. And the story critical object would probably be the tasty pumpkin seeds. All right. This is the section that we're talking about, the elaborative detail on a story critical character, setting, or object. Remember, in your story about Humphrey, it has to be elaborative detail over the story critical setting. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and I want you to flip over to page 24. All right. And the title of this is called The Sense of Autumn, A Sense of Autumn. What you're going to do is this is going to give you great practice for describing the setting because obviously autumn is a time. There's a lot of things that you see in autumn. Place you can be in a forest, you can be in a patch, wherever you want to. But I want you to do elaborative detail over a setting, and the setting happens to be autumn. Now you can make it at a barn. I don't care where you make it, but it has to be autumn. I have to be able to tell that it's autumn and not summer or spring or winter or something like that. If you look in the directions that they've given you above, they've given you some things that you need to remember, and you are only going to write 3 to 4 sentences on your setting. But when they say 3 to 4 sentences, they're not talking about a sentence that has 3 words in it. They're talking about a sentence that has vivid verbs. It has great adjectives. In other words, it has very descriptive language in it. And remember when we talked about sentence variety, we're not going to start all of our sentences off the same way. So switch your sentences around, change them up, and you're only going to give me 3 to 4 sentences. Now, after you are finished with that short little paragraph, you're going to take pages 19 and 24 and you're going to put them in your doc folder, and I want to see how you did on these. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but like I said, I believe I have that down that you begin your story critical setting for your adventure. You start that tomorrow. So I'm hoping you're understanding how this goes. We're going to check on the paragraph that you do over autumn. You're going to leave all of your papers as far as what you're writing in your binder, because you're going to start writing your adventure, the setting, on Thursday. We are going to spend time during reading, probably reading groups, on Friday, adding to it, okay? And so that has to be in your binder in order for you to work on it at school. If you don't have it at school, you're going to get a blue toad for not being prepared to class. I need for you to leave all of your rough drafts and everything in your binder in case I have time to work on it at school. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and you will begin to write your setting tomorrow.